In the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're enjoying a nice warm July day. Any public comment?
Yes.
Come up and stand.
Awesome.
Your name and address.
Awesome. My name is Ricky. I work with Family Heritage. First thing I like to throw out there is I'm not here to mess with the budget or anything, so no problem with that. But we do a supplemental benefit plan for employees. So first thing I like to throw out there, we're not here to replace anything. I don't know if you guys already offer things like Aflac, American Fidelity, Colonial, that type of thing. We're similar, but we're quite a bit different. So what we do is, or a lot of what we do is the more I talk to people, the more I realize that everybody kind of has their own story. We deal with the not fun things like cancer, heart attack, accident, that type of thing. And when somebody goes through cancer specifically, it's not only emotionally and physically devastating, but financially that's a huge burden as well with travel and expenses and all that stuff. So that's why Family Heritage created the phenomenal backup plan that we have. So we pay employees directly. So your health insurance pays to keep doctors and hospitals in business. We pay to keep families in business. That way they can focus on the fight and not the finances. So, like I was saying, we might sound like a lot of other companies that are out there, but there's 4 things that really set us apart. So the first is our plans are affordable. We have different levels of coverage to meet each budget. Second thing, and the reason I signed up, is we have a unique money back feature. So if you stay healthy and you don't use our program, all those premiums that you paid in are going to come back penny for penny after so many years. Third thing, we aren't through payroll. So it's all billed direct to employees. So that means no extra paperwork for you guys, no extra cost, any of that type of thing. And the last thing is our customer service. So that starts with me. I'm here. If anybody has any questions, they can just call or text me. If they do need to call customer service, speaking to a live person in the U.S., which is pretty rare these days. And the way we work with counties, so once I get the go-ahead from you guys, I just reach out to the county department heads, and then we set up a presentation normally during an already scheduled like safety meeting or something like that. I just give a 5-minute, this is what we do, and I pass out these cards. So if they're interested in what I have to say, they can check yes to learn more. Typically I have 60-70% check yes. If they are not interested, that is totally okay. I only follow up with those that check yes. And if they're already a client of ours, I just touch base with them, see if they need to change anything, that type of thing. But is that something that you guys think would work for you? Or do you have any questions?
I think it needs to be. I think you need to run this program through our human resource department.
Okay.
That'd be Jamie Madison.
Jamie Madison. Okay. What would be the best way to reach out to her?
Well, she's got an county email address.
Okay.
Might be the place to start.
Awesome.
She'll give it to you.
Perfect.
Yeah, maybe your office number too, if you happen to have it. Sure.
And is she typically in, or is she pretty busy? Or
She's in unless she's out.
She's out.
She's extremely busy right now.
Is this a busy time for her?
Oh yes. She does a lot with our budgets. This is a
Budget and payroll. Payroll's today too. So.
Yeah. After the 20th of August would be better.
Okay.
Okay. Seriously, I would give it a good time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I have one correction, Mr. Chairman. We have one of the people here last week wrote down as Bob Hannis, and that should have been Kim Hannis. That's the only thing that I've seen.
Did you have a motion to?
I'd have a motion to make that change.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now, do we still need a motion for the minutes?
Yes, to accept.
I make a motion with that change we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got the minutes past us today. How about commissioners' comments and committee reports?
I have a Northeast Kansas area
Agency on Aging. That's hard to say. It's a tongue twister. Thursday at 10 o'clock in Hiawatha. That's basically the only thing I have.
I have nothing to add either. Okay, next I have USD 377 at Atchison Sport Activities and Fitness, 2019 third quarter sports complex main request. This authorizes us to pay them $10,000 for the Atchison complex, $2,500 from the Effingham complex. This entirely comes out of sales tax dollars. It does not affect the ad valorem tax department. So just put that down. The chair would entertain a motion to allow me to sign the stocks in the name of the county.
Also move.
A second, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Okay. We have a USDA rural development letter. It's a letter in support of the USDA grant for repairing the roof at the Effingham Senior Center complex at 411 Main Street. So it's going to be signed both by the city of the city of Effingham and the chair of the Atchison Board of Commissioners. Do I have a motion to allow the chairman to sign?
I'll second.
Move the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. And Michelle's going to add some verbiage for this. Okay, then I have a proposal here from Schwab Eaton to do some interim 12-month bridge inspections on 9 bridges. It's for a total of 2896. The chair would entertain a motion to approve this expenditure for Schwab Eaton.
Also move.
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Okay, what else do I have here? Okay, citizens of Walnut Township road discussion. Not as big a crowd today.
I think they were supposed to be in the 1:30.
Okay.
I called Greg and told him that I just.
Well, Greg just walked past a little bit ago. But is there?
Okay, we'll move on and come back to it. Is there any business before the board? County councilor updates.
Just a moment. The Department of Revenue released their updated interest rates on delinquent taxes. There it is. So for calendar year 2019, for late payment real estate taxes is 11%, unless the amount is more than $10,000, in which case it is 15%. 6% for personal property taxes, unless it is $10,000 or more, in which case it would be 10%. That question had come up, and so when I saw the memo, I'll let you know.
So the more you owe, the more you're going to pay.
Well, it's all the minimum is 11%. It can be 15% if the amount owed is more than $10,000. We don't have a lot that fall in that category, but we have a few.
Should we make a little copy of that and put it in all the text? Or is that overkill?
Well, that would be up to the treasurer. The more things you put in there, the more you drive up the cost, particularly on the
A handful of two that. that it's something to consider. It wouldn't be much to add a sentence to the statements when they go out. That's I mean, it's the season to be talking about it, so probably a discussion.
Do the statements tell you what your delinquent taxes are?
The statements tell you whether you have delinquent taxes or not.
Okay.
They don't have the exact amount. The exact amount varies actually
Based upon the day you pay them, right?
day to day.
But you're fully aware that you have delinquent taxes.
Well, it's on the statements. We're doing a much better job of having that stand out a little more than in prior years. At least the last few years have been better than they had been. I've seen some from 8 or 10 years ago that did not even indicate that they were prior taxes that were owed. So I don't know what they said or what the plan is for this year. They're going to have. I think it's just simply a statement that taxes are delinquent for the following years and the rest of the years. But it's more prominent on the statement.
Used to be, yeah.
I think it's in both cases. Oh, Are we shooting for another one this fall, or are we going to like the next one? Another one. Yeah. Well, CIC, we get a report from CIC that has the delinquent taxes, and we got those reports again, but they changed the information that's on them. So, for example, it didn't have the owner name, it didn't have the property address, didn't have the mailing address for the owner on the. I don't know why they changed that. That's a CIC question, but I met with Wes and we've talked with them about getting that fixed. So we have all of those. There were several other items we asked to be added to it. It included the tax amounts that were owed. It did not include special assessments, and that was something that I wanted on there as well. I can't remember what else was on our request list for it. But there were several other things. Wes, when I talked to him last week, thought that it would be a short time, but I don't know if we nailed down a specific time frame for the programmer to make that change. We've also talked with the abstractors about we will provide them with a spreadsheet essentially with the parcels on there that we're looking at, and then also their deliverables back to us will be in spreadsheet form so that we don't have to go through and manipulate the data to get them into the back end of the computer system to generate the documents we need for the tax sale. So there's a process and it's in place. It started. So I'm not sure when we'll have the properties back, but it certainly would not be in time to have the sale in the fall. Probably would be about the same time next year, maybe a little earlier in the year.
I think once a year, at least in my opinion, once a year is enough.
Especially as we get caught up. I mean,
the thing that's amazing is the 2018 taxes aren't really delinquent until September 15th.
Well, July 1st, they become delinquent.
First month.
well, they become payable, but they're not delinquent until what, September?
Delinquent. They're delinquent. On July 1st, the treasurer does the transfer, the sale transfer. They are delinquent.
So how many years you have to be delinquent to either for the tax sale?
For homestead property, it's 3 years. For vacant property, it's 1 year.
Is there any difference between commercial and residential?
Commercial is 2 years.
Is that state statute that dictates that? Or
Yes. Yes.
Anything else?
There's a question about ham quarry, what we received from them. Michelle provided me so far this year through June, $3,167.35 is the dividend that was paid. So that's all I have.
Mark, do you think everybody's coming this year, or you got more people coming? Okay.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to recess until 1:30 p.m.
I'll move.
You second it?
No, I move.
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So we are adjourned until 1:30. Let's take out a recess. It's 1:30. Everybody's here that wants to discuss the Walnut Township road discussion. Is Roger going to come up, or do we know?
He said he was.
I don't know.
Yeah, because he explained it better what he found and what he found.
He's got the maps. They're there.
You guys can really all do it.
Can't.
I thought you could put it up. Huh? We've got one smart guy in the red, and one guy with shorts on.
What's new, Chief?
It goes well. My problem is I don't hear very good. I can't sit in the back row. I don't hear half of what goes on in the front row. So that's a problem.
Waiting on Roger Denton. I believe Michelle found some records back from years ago, and it shows that it is a county road. And sometime in 1949, it got omitted, and it was just kind of a road, but it was a county road at one time.
I think Roger has those.
Roger has all that information. He said he's gonna bring it back up.
It was also a mail route at one time.
He had a picture of a map that it showed it even going further than past,
The culvert.
well, all the way up to the highway and further south.
I had one at home, I forgot. John McCourt, 1947. Aerial view of it. But it didn't really, couldn't see the road real clear. I mean, you can make out 242nd, you can make out Sheridan Road. And, but on the other side was the highway. It didn't go that far to show Sherman Road. But it showed their place down there. It was an open spot, and then back behind it, it showed where services lived. So, but that's about all I've been able to find out.
Did it show where all that money come out of that hill, underneath that hill?
No, they pretty much ain't gonna use it up.
Well, I have a 2008 plat book, and I know these aren't gospel, but in here it clearly shows, according to their map, 254th goes to his parents when they lived there, and their address is actually 6678, I think, 254th Road.
That's interesting.
So,
Yeah.
their address was 254.
I'd like to see it.
Well, we had a question whether that road was actually a county road, and it is.
It was township road.
Township road.
Township.
But
It is.
all bridges are county maintained.
I mean, it's, something. There's the road. Leading to their property, if you look in section 30.
I wonder why that plot map, Mark, had it showed in 18 and we didn't have record of it. Is it a mistake on our part? Or a mistake on
I would say Dee said she was the one that provided the mapping, and she miscalculated her. I don't know. It's so long ago.
Greg,
4469, 254.
Well, that's interesting because, something that recent shows that, but yeah.
Just because that's a recent publication
And those
doesn't mean
aren't-
it's recent data.
Well,
Those aren't always completely correct, but
Yeah.
it did show their mailing address as 254th Road.
Yeah, that's what I, the fact that his parents' house had a address of 254th Road, and that was an open road.
It's back there, but they've abandoned it.
But you lived in it a couple years ago, you said, right? So it's fairly recent that they moved
Do
out.
you think, Mark, do you think going with one wall straight up and then putting bigger tubes in, or we just need that slope, how much water goes down quite a bit of water? Put 2 6-foot tubes in?
Gosh, I would think that would be sufficient.
And then straight up walls?
I mean, an engineer's gonna have a better idea, but, and like I said, it wasn't ever fixed correct and lasted 25 years, so
See if this shows.
you've gotta put a cost effectiveness somewhere. It's not feasible to get silly.
Well, we got 85%. 75 from the federal, 10 from the state, so we could spend a little bit more money on fix it.
Bill, I don't know if you're interested in seeing that, but that does show that for the ambulances. So just more tidbits that have to be dug up.
There's a map up in the clerk of the courts. That has that same configuration. I don't know where that one came from, but it's been there for many years. But it shows the same road configuration.
Okay, now what I heard yesterday, and Greg was there, they'll have to get an engineer to design it, get a cost, and then put that into FEMA.
If they go back, if you want to put a big culvert in there or whatever, then you gotta go through the state statute and all that.
Water drainage.
But where I had last year, I wanted to do some things to fix that hillside. They said no, and they put them back the way it was. Well, it was two, 3 times the money. But they wanted it back the way it was. Now they may do the same thing, put the 3 tubes back in and do what you had before.
I'd like to see 6-foot tubes myself.
I mean, you'll have
Get you more
to,
height,
you have to
More
show them.
volume.
more
You'll have to
volume.
show them the pictures of the tubes that went out, which one of them's there, I mean, and you can see
tell 'em
in
that's
the
happening.
indentations in the concrete where the tubes were set in there and then poured over top.
I wasn't down there too many times, but it had a pretty good dip in it, didn't it?
Mhm.
Not real severe.
The original one did. This one that they built 25 years ago, not so much, a little more. But the first one the first one was pretty much a low water crossing.
Yeah.
This one was higher.
There is a lot of water come down there, like when we get them 4 or 5 inch rains in a couple hours. We were down there the next day and that water was running through there, it looked like a river. And then when we went down there and took pictures, it was
That's
just
what I said, the
dripping.
good and the bad. The good we're gonna fix the bad is
Time.
time.
This is
Get with FEMA, we'll get everything going today and see where we're at with FEMA.
So you have made a decision you're going to fix it.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm glad, but so we need that. But the next issue is, I keep saying, but once we have a problem, we still can't cross it. But I'll be patient to a point. But I still need it fixed when, and I know you can't stop and just do it, but we can't put
Chances
it
are
off.
this will be hard because our crews are chip and seal and trying to get to it. So I would venture to say this will be hard out, which probably will make it quicker.
Right.
Here's Rogers.
In the past, when you get a project like this, what kind of timeline did you have? 30
Well,
days,
they give you, sometimes they give you 18 months, they give you 8 months.
we got to fix it way for 18 months.
Yeah, but like something like that, you talk like in 21 days, they'd be notifying us or something, and 2 guys, usually have 2 guys that come and you'll ride the roads, but then they can also do like emergency thing, where you gotta have that done, and you keep track of the cost or whatever, and they still pay you. I've fixed stuff before, as long as I got it documented and shown them, they go ahead and pay for it.
Yeah, we get something like that, we can start on it whenever. Okay, now we're gonna have some pictures, and you got the pictures, or you got the pictures, because I think we'll give them back to you.
No,
Michelle,
I got
Michelle
it.
has them, and then we gotta have some kind of record that you've worked on this road, cutting rock on it, something in
oh,
it.
yeah, I mean, I've got rock tickets and I
Okay.
mean,
What else do we have to have?
my road grader guy goes down there, you know, what? Every other month he takes a trip down through, he's down there, what?
There's no minimum
Week.
maintenance sign on that road, is there? If there is, pull it. Minimum maintenance sign?
No, it's not. Nope, that road's always been bladed. When was we down there last month, a week ago?
About 10 days ago, I was hanging, you guys were working on it.
Bladed.
So we know we're gonna fix it. I guess the question mark is, when can we fix it? And can we fix this under an emergency situation with FEMA? That's the thing I don't know. I was at the FEMA meeting yesterday.
Well, the question wasn't brought up, if there is an emergency, can we get an okay and go ahead and do it and then get reimbursed?
Well, that West Money will be able to tell you more about that.
Well,
He's the guy in charge.
Roger?
Roger was there as well.
I was there. I can pretty well answer that. If they approve it, we get paid. If they don't approve it, we don't get paid. And that's kind of the situation I'm telling
But
you.
our question is, can they approve it after the engineer shows them the plan, before the project started? Can they approve it? We can go ahead and get it done.
Here's the thing. They're going to, we made an application yesterday.
Right.
They're going to act upon that application. Now, they're also going to want some numbers to know whether it's in the small project range or the large project range. The small project range was that $128,000 area. If it's in the small, they come out and walk through with you and do an estimate, much like an insurance guy would do, and then they pay you based on that. And that's where he said, if they do that, then that's what your payment's going to be based on. With a large project group, what you have to do is you have to spend the money and then get a reimbursement. And that has to be based on all the things. Okay. But in order to get it in the small area group, it's going to be done with a lot of photographs, site visit, and those kinds of things to get it approved. If they weren't considering this, they wouldn't have even been here. So I'm saying yes, and as long as we're putting in things, I don't think there's any question that this was caused by the early flooding. So I would say, you know, you're relatively safe in saying that they're going to approve us to get.
Is this the small project range? Is this the small project range?
Yeah, large is over 128,000.
If you have over 128,000 in the county, you know,
And-
the county stuff in it, and they'll put them all together.
This is all together. This is not per location. This is a total. We made one application
It could be.
for the repairs. Now, emergency fixing, emergency. How'd they state that? Like brush removal and emergency clearing.
Clearing it up.
That is one project or one type of
That was that
expense.
phase, wasn't it?
And then there's another one for,
I think this would be B.
but this was under the road and bridge area.
Yes, I think that's B.
I've got a question. If we could somehow do a temporary minimum fix just to give somebody access, is that going to throw us out of acceptance on the project? If we,
I don't think so.
That's what I was wondering. What is the minimum requirement for you to get over there, that if we could throw a single tube in and throw some rock in there to get you across? I mean, what is that minimum? And I'm not saying that's an offer. I'm just saying, what would suffice, or is that going to even last? Is it one rain going to blow that back out? I'm trying to get you some kind of access. And what would that be? And would that even throw us out of the FEMA consideration?
Eric, just as a point of information, if it's less than $128,000, we might as well not spend money on a temporary fix. Let's fix it.
Well, but
Well,
how many months is it going to be?
We're not talking about this project. We're talking about countywide. So,
Well, I know, but we're talking about this particular project.
but I agree with you. Why go down there and
Why put in temporary money? Let's get it fixed.
Well, 'cause you
Because
can't.
to answer your question, that's what I've been doing for the last couple months, and it never held. You know, I kept just putting riprap over the top and then covering it. You know, it's not going to hold it without cap of some kind.
What I'm saying is, I think we're gonna fix it. We just need to figure out when.
And one thing about it, and you guys go in there and do a box culvert or whatever on that, you're gonna get into a lot of money, and if you got more damage, you're gonna get over 128,000, and then it's gotta be litigated and all that, and then subject to so much, and then they give you so much money, and I mean, it's where we won't have no $128,000. I don't have to worry about that. But you guys will have well over $128,000. And so it's going to be, like what he said, it's going to be litigated, and they're going to have to, then it gets more involvement with them.
Is that per project or is that aggregated?
That's aggregate.
Now, is that per county-wide, including townships, or is the township completely separate?
Correct.
Townships,
Correct.
Right.
And the county is a separate applicant from the township.
Okay, that's what I didn't know. I thought maybe they lumped it into location only.
But from what I had the previous, they wouldn't let me put a bigger tube in, If I wanted a bigger tube, we had to pay the extra cost. And for an example, I didn't get pictures of the tubes down in the Oak Mills when I put all the new tubes in. They didn't pay me for the tubes. They paid me to have the other ones put in, but they wouldn't pay me for the tubes because they didn't have pictures of them.
So you had 3-foot tubes or two?
I think there's 3, and I would think they're probably 30-inch tubes.
I think we need to go 2 6.
I think you go with 2 bigger tubes, get it big, get it up in the air like you're saying. It's just more volume. Put a cap over it. That one lasted 25 years. I would think you do it that way, you're going to get more than 25 years.
And there'll be somebody else having this conversation in 25 years.
Wes Money will be able to tell you a lot. He's been in 4 or 5 of these FEMA things, and he knows.
So you're going to be our contact person, Roger, get a hold of Wes? Or we got to wait and hear from them until we fill the papers out yesterday?
We submitted the application yesterday. In the meantime, we're going to be gathering data and putting everything together. And so it just becomes a situation where when they get back in touch with us, we'll be getting
Should we get?
So we'll have more visibility in 2 or 3 weeks.
They said 21 days.
Yeah.
Should we have Mark or get some tubes coming? 2 6-foot tubes coming?
Well, we won't know if they're going to be allowed yet.
Well,
I haven't even been down and looked at the situation because
it's a total war shot.
And again, let me drive down there in the next few days if I can, and just maybe even this afternoon, drive down, take a look at it, see if I can see what might work well as a repair there that might fall totally within our current situation.
Part of the sensitive issue of it is through all the housing and different things up the 73 highway, they put more culverts, more draining area, concrete areas that drain, just like by Annette Marlatte's place. So there's more water dumping into that creek now than there ever has been. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the issue. Whenever we decide who's going to fix it or how you're going to fix it, the sense of time is going to be, if we would get a stretch of 30 days of dry weather, that creek level is going to be at a low, low level. That's the time. And it's not going to be one of these projects you're going to say, hey, October 1, we're going to fix it. You're going to have to get it decided and work with the contractor. And if we get a stretch of time when the water level's low, that's when you're going to have to try to go in.
So the question is, Mark, can you survive without it going across until we hit that kind of a weather situation?
It's going to be difficult, but I'll be. You're going to fix it. I'm going to be.
Let me see what we can do, because the tubes that were there are still there. They're just not very usable right now. But if we could,
the tubes are not there.
They're not even there.
They're on down the creek somewhere.
Okay.
There's one on the bank, and there's still Frank. Yeah. I think there's one on the bank that you can see what was there.
I'm just trying to figure out how we can limp you by until we're doing it decently. And again, I just don't know those answers.
There's no way.
And I'll be really honest when I say, I don't get out and see all these. But yeah, I got pictures from, and thank you. And send us any of those pictures because they help us then with our funding.
But do you bring those cattle out at a certain time, or do they stay there?
Winning time, so September, October.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, at some point you would have to be able to get in there and you know, if we have to throw some temporary rock or something in there, maybe we can work something out.
We'll have it built.
I mean, I would hope it could be done by then, before then.
No, I do too, but
I don't
if we have a high water summer, even if we get it approved, we may, like you say, we may not be able to go in there and work on it if we have rain.
Gary Service has got some big rocks down there off to the east side, and I'm sure he'd be willing to depart with it. But on the east side of that low water crossing is a big hole. That's going to have to be filled in. You know, them big rocks that he's got down there, I mean, I'm talking big rocks. Water's not going to wash them away. If you had to do a temporary crossing at times, you put a bunch of them in there, and then put a load of 3-inch whatever over top of that, that'd get them back and forth. Until a big rain comes, then it wants to lose stuff off. But them big rocks ain't going nowhere. I mean, when Roger goes down and you look at it on the way down, you'll see all them rocks over on that side.
Okay.
And,
I'd personally like to get it fixed right, because if you go down there, excuse my French, half-ass it, time will get by, time will get by, we'll get another big rain, and then what we did is gone.
but I mean, to
You're
temporarily.
gonna create
if they
more
had
work to
get
fix it the next time.
Right, and that's not what
If we
my
can get it in
intention
time.
was that if you have to get in and out, you know, what's that minimum thing to get it done until it gets fixed?
I would think, yeah, that.
So at this point, do we have any more to discuss? We already pretty much come to the conclusion, right? We're ahead.
I think we pretty well know what.
You guys
what
got
we-
any questions? Mr. Wentz, Mark?
Hey, thanks for coming in.
I appreciate you guys, you know, coming up with the project. On paper, you got me fixed. We're not fixed till we're fixed, but we're
Right.
heading in the right direction.
I'm sorry about the delay, but you know, we had to work on information that was available at the time.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, there was an issue brought up at the first meeting about a map that was shown that this group would all be interested in probably getting it resolved at this time. It may prevent this type of meeting sometime in the future. Council had some kind of a map that was not agreed upon that channeled off of 254th Road down at that corner.
Can we get that adjusted as that?
Well, here's the situation, and the maps are not a culmination of what people agree upon. They're a result of what we have. Now, there is another road that goes off that direction. It was 501st Road. And what I do is go back to the old records. This road that we're talking about right now, that was 346th Road, or 54. I don't remember what the number on it was. If you have that stack of papers. In fact, this is what I said to the commission earlier, is it actually shows this road going south all the way to the highway. Now, the highway was not there yet, but there was a road going east and west down in the middle of Section 31. I asked the commission the same question. What do you want me to do? You want me to run a right-of-way all the way down through the properties, all the way to that point? It really doesn't serve a purpose. And what we have always said with county road records, every time someone asks me, is unless there's a compelling reason and hard evidence, I don't change road locations. And that is, again, what caused me the other day to say, I don't see anything there yet. And it's only the extra research we did that came up with the actual stuff that backs this up. So there is another spur that goes off where that other was, which was called 501st. Now, they have all been renamed since then. And this other spur may have been renamed, but I don't know what's what. And it's not like this one used to be, you know, when the county renamed these so that all east-west roads became number roads and all north-south became named roads, that would have led to that kind of situation.
Roger, now the maps and things that were located that kind of proved the issue today, are they added to the road record that you've got down there so this won't come up again in 20, 25 years? Does that, when they get scanned, does that go into that? So there's now a record or a reestablishment of that?
I'd love to be able to say yes. Here's the actual The actual result of it is this, though, that those road records, what I have is a map that the county clerk held. And that county clerk map had all those numbered road records on it. And then those numbers go back into the documentation that was scanned in and that we have from the actual creation of those, okay? These plat maps that I'm showing you have no supporting documentation. They're just a map that shows a road line and doesn't tell me where anything was. In this case, do you have a copy of those documents? In this case, what we were actually able to find, and I went out to the county shop. First thing I did is I went to Michelle, and I said, Michelle, I've got a 300 and whatever the number was, 346th road, and in all honesty, I'm not showing any right-of-way on my maps. The bridge doesn't show up in my stuff, and the road, I have a hole in there. There's no scanned documents in there that shows any support. And is that not true?
That's correct.
And so Michelle was able to dig in some boxes in the top of one of her vaults and find a box and find some records, and that's what she scanned in. Well, in what she scanned in, and there was probably 50 pages of documents, 2 of the documents in that 50 pages were these. This one actually shows a little map of what was going on. This one actually calls out the meets and bounds of that road as located by the original surveyor. Okay? I dumped those original documents in, and it's the orange line you see on there. It gives me an exact location of that road. So it makes it easy for me to go back and take a look and say, with Pat having reviewed it and the commission acknowledging its existence, then it says, yes, that road exists. And I talked to them about it this morning, and their comment was, the best thing to do here is to show this road down to where it's necessary to access all those properties. Okay? But we don't necessarily need to run it through the field all the way down to here. Because what we're going to end up doing is showing a right-of-way down to these. Okay? There needs to be that easement or right-of-way shown where that road is and where that bridge is. And it's not on there at all right now. And so that's how we got back to reestablishing this. And in addition to doing that, that's when I dug through these others and I found an 1800 bridge piece that said, it showed me 167, but knowing exactly where that 167 is, that's pretty rough. It'd be tough to tell exactly what it was. Then I found a 1903 map that shows that road going all the way down. Going all the way down to the middle of section 31. But then I get to a 1930 map, which is here. It's not on there anymore. None of it is on there. And then I get to a 1949 map, and it's got this chunk on, but the bridge is clear down here. So it's not on there anymore. So you see what I'm saying? There was, at some point, it started dropping off all of their data. And that was the problem I had. Now, having discovered this, we can put that back in. And I have compelling data here, and they're all saying, that's good. Put that chunk back in to there so that we're claiming that bridge again, and we're making that all work. But as far as changing all the other stuff, unless we research those records and dig out every bit of them, just like what we did with this road, I don't want to start changing roads around. I hope that makes sense.
No, because they're saying that 254 run to the northwest at where they said, okay, we don't own the road from here to the Winces. And your map shows it right there.
That's not 254. That's 346 in the old naming system. There's another road that goes where 254th is going on the old naming system that was called 501st.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Do
Do you have a copy of that? You know that map I had? I'll take you downstairs and show you what I'm talking about.
That's fine.
What I have was
council showed us.
The one I sent you, that I gave it to Michelle when you were looking up these records, the chunk out of the Register of Deeds road records.
I think I still have it in my office.
Okay. I can show you where that is. I can get a copy of that.
I think to simplify
I'd like
things,
to have, there's
we
3 pieces of
acknowledge
that,
that
I'd
it's
like
a
to have a
township
copy.
road. We're gonna fix the bridge as soon as we can. If you wanna look at the maps,
The question arose from a map the council had from 254. And it went at the point where it went straight over to the Winces, it turned to the northwest.
That is correct.
And that road was put in there by the people that run the port. The township nor the county had any
Roger.
put any money or time and effort in on that road.
Well, that would be a township matter anyway, if it would be a township road.
The whole 254th road is a township road.
Yeah.
But it's owned by the county. The township's in maintenance on it. But what I'm telling you is that I saw more evidence of that road than I do of this road. It's out there. And that's all I was saying.
According to my dad, they started the quarry in 1953 or 54. And at that point in time, the map that you and I discussed showing 254th going into the quarry, that road was built. 254th was built prior to that by a lot of years, Roger's showing. It's just been, like Dee said, she submitted some mappage that was incorrect, showing going into the quarry. So we're all in agreement. I'm fine.
I just can't tell you when it was mapped on there back in the 1800s, and I can't tell you when it quit any more than some of these others. It should, at some point it dropped off the board, and then at some point it come back again. And I don't know exactly how.
Well, that's the same thing, you run into, and then on
Okay.
Sunday, when you look it up.
You're good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Anything else?
Yeah, just someone give me a shot. And like I said, if it's a point where, I need to monitor it and say, hey, it's dry, this project can go forward if we've got a contractor in place. And if it's not feasible to do it at that time, contractor can build it any time. But there's times it's going to sure be easy.
we should have more visibility in 2 or 3 months.
well, it's a good time to.
You bet. And I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better than I've got.
I just noticed how much the pond in front of my house shrinked just over the weekend. I mean, so it's dried up pretty fast.
It'll help. Sure. Okay, you guys got other business.
Just give me, have you write down your phone number.
I'll plug it in a second.
Okay, anything else? Anybody got anything?
I'll run down there now.
I don't have any.
Roger, you want to be the contact person for Mark or Mr. Lance?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Or call me. You got my number.
Mhm.
I've got yours, so.
Okay.
Whoever, if you can't get hold of someone.
Gotcha.
All our business has been concluded. I entertain a motion to
Come
adjourn.
downstairs. I'll show you what I'm
Also move.
I second that.
Moving and seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
At 2:02, I should have said, Michelle.